Jensen's hometown. The caveat is we're working on Jensen time. Sometimes as a rock singer and an MC, one has to lengthen the song until the walk catches up to the stage. But in the meantime, I ask you, are you ready for Jensen? Are you ready for Texas's own Jared Padalecki? Are you ready for Jensen and Jared? How have you guys been? Been good? It's been a fun weekend. I know I'm ready to see them. It's been a while. I just saw them backstage. They were eating chicken wings and stuff. It smelled good. Oh, they smell so good. They still, after all these years, even in spite of the chicken wings and beer, they smell like gold. It's the musk that Richard and I talk about. If we can just bottle it up. I don't know how they do it, really. Did I ever tell you about the time that Jensen got fit for one of these things? It's called an in-ear monitor. It fits perfectly in your ear. The ear doctor came to set and fit his ear for an ear monitor. And the ear doctor had to take a knee. Small tear dropped from his eyes. He said, "That's the most perfect ear canal I've ever seen." It's a true story.
Ladies and gentlemen, loud and swearing.
Thank you.
I gotta give a little shout out to our buddy Bobo here, who just did about 15 minutes of improv during a Journey song, killing time. Talking about your ear.
We started early.
There's your ear canals were discussed.
I told you to do the ear canal bit.
Were you also doing P90X?
I was. I was simply walking on the stage. But no, we covered a lot of ground. I got to know the audience, each and every one of them.
There was a lot going on. Robbie, kudos. It was very impressive. Well done.
But hey,
Rob Benedict, go on.
Thank you.
We know as much as we love Rob Benedict and appreciate that moment. This is not about Rob Benedict.
Not about me.
I'm going to make this official. I'm going to do it right now. Good people of Plano, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and all the surrounding counties, please, I want a big-ass Texas welcome for Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki. Stage is yours, boys.
Thanks, Faye. Thank you, Benny. All right. Here we go. Ooh, it's good to be back home. Collin County. Where are you at?
I thought we were in Dallas. Nope!
Just so we're very clear, this was a gift from a dear friend who works on the show.
I didn't give that to you.
Who's from Britain. Y'all see it?
I think something's wrong with it. Does it take batteries? What's happening?
It is. The batteries are old. I didn't charge them last night. Hi, guys.
Hi, y'all.
Apologies ahead of time. We're a little embarrassed. We both wore our beards today. We didn't know we were going to match. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom, sister, cousin, whoever's cheering.
Girlfriend.
Thanks, girlfriend. Show yourself. Who are you?
After the show. After the show. Backstage.
The girlfriend gave. Boyfriend gave. Listen, whatever. I mean, love is love. What does it mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean, what does it mean? Here's Texas, and this says, ain't Texas. Although, what's interesting is up here, these mountain ranges. You got the Rockies, and the Appalachians right there. And now I need a bath.
And now I have regrets.
Regrets.
No regrets.
What's the next line? The sage in bloom like perfume, deep in the heart of Texas. Deep in the heart of Texas. Still got it.
Lord, sorry. Apologies, guys. All right, let's go ahead before we embarrass us more. That was phenomenal, Gordon. That was fantastic.
Hey, real quick, can I, are you taking requests? I have a request.
Okay.
Can you do all the states?
Yes!
It's my favorite.
All 50 states? Or which, like...
All of them.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
Jared Padalecki, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
Like you said, do your times tables now.
The periodic.
Is that the only thing you learned in school? It's the only thing that stuck.
As a matter of fact, yes, it is. Without a doubt. Pi? 3.1415926583.
Is that cherry or apple?
All right. There are people standing up going like, what are they talking about? I have a question. So let's start with my side, which is always the strong side. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Hey, I felt the mountains. I know what.
In the words of Demi Lovato, sorry, not sorry. Let's go over here.
What? You know, your mom's here.
Mom? Hi, Mom. Where are you? Where's my mom and dad? Or where is them? Oh, hi. By the way, so please be kind. The OG Mr. and Mrs. Ackles and Mr. and Mrs. Padalecki are here right now. So thank you from one person. 1 out of 1,000 is still better than 0 out of 1,000.
Thank you!
So kudos, and what did y'all do wrong? How do we not? Just easy. All right, let's go ahead and start off.
Actually, they're thinking right now, they're like, well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
Oh.
I had so many better jokes. Hey, you know, so weirdly, we went on a little world tour, and I found out that I was afraid of elevators, so now I'm taking steps to avoid them.
Your bad jokes have reached new heights.
New heights? Steps to avoid them?
We love you,
I get no
Jared.
respect. I get no respect. Understood.
I'm sorry. He's usually much better. He's nervous in front of his mom and dad.
Aww.
But he brought us mountains. All right, let's get started. All right, here we go. All right, bringing it back.
How are you?
Hi, good.
Hi.
Hi.
Good. Hi.
So, have y'all ever considered racing the Impalas once the series is over? And if so, who do you think will win?
Hey, take it easy. Racing the Impalas. Well, I'll tell you who will win. Whoever wins is the person sitting behind the steering wheel of the one with a 502 under the hood.
Yeah, there's only one that has a big block V8, so I'm fairly certain that's the one that'll win. However, when we do quickly escape with them when the show's over, and get them down to Austin, there's a little road course out there called Circuit of the Americas. Maybe we'll go give her a test.
Thank you. I like your crown, by the way. What's up with it? You're 50? Bravo.
Happy birthday. All right. Hi there.
Hi. First off, thank you both for just existing. More so Jensen than Jared.
Hold on 1 second.
Strong side, right?
You can thank those 4 people over there.
I did. I was like, thank you. So my question.
You know what? You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jensen. Appreciate that. My question is, so you both have your bar and your brewery. what made you guys decide to open those establishments?
Beer.
Well, yeah, obviously. But like, what made you feel like, you know what, that's what we want to do? Because we appreciate it, trust me, we do.
I think for me, to start, so when I was, Mom, Dad, shut your ears. Shut your ears. When I was not 21 yet, and I had my fake ID, shut your ears. I grew up.
I never had a fake ID. I had a real ID.
That's an Eric.
That was my buddies who looked like me who was over 21.
Fair enough. Well played. Well played. I'm
just kidding. I did.
No, Alan, no. He never, ever. Why water?
It really boiled down to profit margins. And the investment at that time there was a real need for that in the marketplace, and so we really kind of broke it down to what it was going to be from a capital investment standpoint, to a return standpoint, and then it just really the numbers made sense for that particular. Could have been anything. It could have been toilet paper, but it just.
By the way, did you invest in that toilet paper?
I didn't because the margins weren't there. But again, looking back at those numbers and really crunching them, really it just kind of that was the one thing that really stood out to both of us. And there's a law that prohibits one manufacturer owning a retail space. So you can't have, it's a three-tiered system, you can't have that, it's only one. There can be a manufacturer, there can be a distributor, and there can be a retail space. He decided to take one, I decided to take the other. We're just looking for the third Winchester to get it distributed.
I'll be the third Winchester.
That's how you debate!
You know, I'll invest if you want. I'm down.
I blacked out, what happened?
Thank you for your question. Hope to see you at the. I got you. Cheers. He's got some mountains of his own.
It's like Texas Hill Country.
Someone just yelled, show us! Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? I live in Texas Hill Country. I know how beautiful it is. 2 miles from the family business. So, I'm going to ask a question that I hope doesn't put you guys too much on the spot, but what would you say is the most influential thing that your parents taught you that you're passing on to your children now?
How dare you? Most influential thing. All right.
You want to take this first?
I'll take this first.
All right.
So,
You want me to take this?
I mean, if you want to, but I can.
No, I mean, go ahead.
All right.
But we can stall a little bit.
I'm a very lucky dude. I'm a very lucky guy, and I'm a very lucky husband and father and cousin and best friend. But I think outside of the maybe exterior aspects that make me lucky, you know, I was born tall and white and male. And I mean, like, there are things, obviously, like I had some good fortune being born. The world we live in, the country we live in, is made for tall white guys, you know? And I'm very grateful and aware of that. But beyond that...
Pull up. Forward. Pull up.
I'm pulling.
Ground. Mayday.
I my outside of whatever I look like on the outside, I feel like no, I'm not pulling up. My parents taught me that I should do the best I can. Like my parents sacrificed a lot. They're in the room, so it's weird to answer the question because they're 50 feet away from me. But they gave everything. They gave everything they had. They didn't have the money I have. They didn't have the good fortune I have, where there were 1,000+ people looking at me. But they gave more to me and to my brother and my sister and me. And that's correct grammar. And I know that because my mom's my teacher and my dad's a grammar nerd. So they gave every single ounce of their being to my brother, my sister, and me. And I hope to do as much of a similar job for my 3 children as possible.
Sorry for the turbulence there, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we will be landing ahead of a schedule. At a different airport.
I could give you a laundry list of things that I hope to emulate to my children that was impressed upon me as a child and a young adult. I will just pick one from that very long list, and that is the gift of laughter. There were always jokes, albeit not good ones. But there was constant laughter in the house, and I hope to raise my children in a house of equal laughter.
Thank you, Beck.
Hi. I'm Lourdes.
I'm Jared. This is Tom. He wishes.
So my question is, when did you guys realize that acting was the career for you? Because as someone that's about to go into university, it's something that I wonder if I'm sure about right now. When did you guys realize that this was something that you wanted to do for the rest of your lives?
That's a great question. I've thought about this before. This sounds strange. I don't recommend acting as a career. I recommend it as a passion, as a vocation, as a hobby. And if it starts out as something that you love and you need and turns into a career, then great. But there are actors and actresses out there who have changed my life and my career that you wouldn't know the name of, you know? So I say follow your passion. You know, there are bills to pay, obviously. But just because we have 307 episodes of television under our belts together, and we'll have 327 episodes of television together, doesn't mean that we're better actors or actresses than somebody in this audience. So maybe somebody chooses to do community theater, maybe they do commercials, maybe they do voiceovers, maybe they do movies, maybe they do nothing. And maybe they tell stories to their kids or their kids' friends behind a campfire. I feel like it needs to be a passion and a vocation first, and then if there's a way to pay your bills with it, great. But you know, I ate ramen for several years. After it was a career, because it wasn't a career yet, it was still my hobby, my passion, my drive. So for me, and Ackles has his own opinion as well, for me, acting was always what I needed to do. I just happened to be lucky enough and fortunate enough and blessed enough to get paid for it.
I think figure out what it is. Yeah, I think figure out what it is about that the industry that really speaks to you, that you really love. Because nowadays, in this day and age, the industry is completely different than, not completely, but it's wildly different than when we first started out. You know, for us, it was movies or television, and that was or theater, if you wanted to be an actor. It was basically those three mediums. Now you've got YouTube channels, and you've got independent film festivals, and you've got yeah. I mean, there's so many different platforms and mediums that you can utilize to tell stories. And if it's telling stories or writing stories or performing certain characters, then figure out a way to do that. And like Jared said, do it because you love it. Don't do it because you think you should get paid for it. I think as soon as you start going like, I want to be famous or I want to get paid, then you start losing focus of what you're really doing it for. So figure out what that is, focus on that, find a way to do it, and if you get paid for it, cha-ching.
Congrats on college. Hi.
Hey guys, my name's Taylor. My question's actually for Jensen. Sorry.
Oh.
Found him.
That was really dramatic.
Yes, Jared, it was.
My chair flattened.
And this is why we...
Nice things.
That's why we can't have nice things.
So I love your voiceover work as Jason Todd in Under the Red Hood. Your big finale speech like always brings me to tears every time I watch it. So what was like, where did you pull from for that beautiful speech?
I have to go back and try to remember that. It was, I mean, doing something in that medium. Again, here's a completely different. Going back to the earlier question, here's something completely different. You know, you can do voiceovers. You know, my father's been had a career in voiceover work and that kind of stuff for quite a long time. I mean, he's a man of many talents, but that certainly is one of his great ones, and he does very well with it. And I thank him for whatever he taught me or whatever I got from him that gave me the ability or even the confidence to go and do a job like Under the Red Hood. That being said, it's a totally different process than what we do on Supernatural or what most people do in television or film. I mean, this is me in a recording booth just reading the lines with no other actor there to play opposite, not hearing somebody else reading the other lines. Literally, I just go line by line, recording it 3 different ways. Now, that's really weird when you come from somebody from a set where you're rehearsing scenes and you're trying to make them as realistic as possible.
That's hard.
Yeah, and so I remember doing some of those long speeches and just using my personal life moments to kind of pull from and use that to give me emotion or direction on how I wanted to perform it. But again, it was interesting because you couldn't really get into a scene or get into a rhythm with the character or the other characters because there was no one there to do that. It was just you alone in a booth. I will say though that as odd as it was, I have done a few more that aren't out yet. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So I was wondering if somebody were to sit down and watch the show from start to finish, what's one thing or theme you would want them to take away from the show?
Texas.
via Kansas. No, it would probably be always keep eating.
I think I was talking about this.
Pie.
3.1415926585.
Cherry.
Chairs. I feel like I talked about this earlier a little bit in my prep degree, and I feel like one of the things that I learned, or not learned from the show, but was sort of reinforced from my time on the show, which isn't over yet, is that these guys did the best they could. It's almost the same I just talked about my folks, who I think are somewhere over there. They just did the best job they could with what they had. You know, like you don't need to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Just do the best you can do. Work hard, be true, be honest, be loyal, sacrifice, and just do the best you can. And that's kind of what the boys went a bit too far, maybe sometimes. You know, I mean, I didn't. Jared doesn't want to be Lucifer ever, and I don't know why I'm talking so high. I feel like the boys being the Winchester boys, which I guess I'm one, always did the best job they could. So I feel like that's what I would want to live with and pass on.
Yeah, it is. It's the good fight. I think that's a big, through line with this show is these brothers. They fight for each other, and they fight for what they believe is right. And it's and I do love that message. In fact, since you're here, and Dad, you may not remember ever telling me this, but when I moved out at the age of 18 and moved to California, there were some great pieces of advice. One of them was, make sure you stand for something, because if you don't, you'll fall for anything. And,
So true.
and I believe that the brothers, the Winchester brothers, they fight to stand for something. And I love that about this story and this world and these characters. They fight for what they believe in. So. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. I'm Jared.
Hi, Jared.
This is
Hi,
Jensen.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
See Billy.
Thank you.
Steven.
Hi, Billy.
Mike's over there.
Great.
So,
Hey, guys.
The whole gang's here.
Awesome. Really excited. So, we saw at the end of last season that Chuck kind of undid a lot of what Sam and Dean have done over the last 14 years. What would be the most difficult thing, emotionally or physically, for the boys to face again if they had to, and why?
I think the most difficult thing that the boys will have to face is,
Would you repeat the question? It's like they ask us, when do we get interviewed? The interviewers off camera, and they'll say, what is the most difficult thing that they'll have to face in the new season? And if you could just repeat the question into the camera, that'd be great. And you did that just now. What would be the most?
Because here's the deal.
All right, what's your answer?
Well, here's the point. If somebody's like, hey, what's the scariest thing the boys can face? And I say, bears. then people will see like videos of me saying, bears?
That's scary, man.
It'll be like a GIF or something, but there's no context.
GIF. GIF is peanut butter.
It could be peanut butter as well.
No, it can't.
It can't. No, me. I'll break my chair again. The most difficult thing. So, Jensen and I finished season 14 on March 26th in Vancouver. We had a couple weeks with our wives and kids and family and friends and homes and and we went around Europe. and then around Australia, well, around Dubai, then around Australia, then went back to Los Angeles and had a several-hour meeting with our producers and writers and sometimes directors. And so Jensen and I know how the show is going to end.
Don't
write this down.
Jared, don't you dare.
We're not gonna. I'm not gonna. Well, I will absolutely tease you. You watch your trap. I feel like I'm not gonna give. I'm not gonna spoil the end of the show. It means too much to me. It's been too long. I'm not gonna reveal the ending.
I will. I'll tell you whatever.
Do it.
Just write it down. But I'll say.
Problem is, I already forgot. So.
I'll say. Again. I will say that the last scene of Supernatural.
No.
I'm not gonna say it.
No.
I'm just saying that will be the most.
Don't say it. No.
And then?
No, I don't know.
No.
Pull up. I'm gonna pull up.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
You can just buckle your seatbelts, stow your tray tables. We're going to be experiencing some turbulence.
The most, there's some, I would not like to deal with the Leviathans anymore. I think I'm happy that we put those to bed. I hope those don't come back.
You put them to bed?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they're sleeping? For how many years?
Many. What would be? You know what? I would like to have another crack at Hookman. Yeah.
Do y'all know the story of Hookman? Or the story of our episode of Hookman?
Yes.
No, the honest story was we shot the pilot, we shot Wendigo, and then we shot Hookman. So nothing had aired yet. Supernatural had not aired, and there were some things they wanted to tie up. And so Hookman was the third filmed episode of Supernatural that would aired as the 7th or 8th, because we had to go back and reshoot a bunch of stuff. Now I go back and watch it, I'm like, this was a good episode. I don't know what they were like. I think it was one of those, they were trying to get the show picked up, and so we had to shoot. Those who got jumped, right?
What? You talking to me this whole time?
Hookman was one of my favorite episodes to watch because one of those stories that I tell and enjoy being told, you know, around a campfire or something. But it was a funny situation way back in the day, which was a Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other, like, you know, it'd be nice to kill Yellow Eyes again. Or
Ruby.
Pull up, abort. We're fine.
Right here.
We're fine.
Right here.
It's fine. We'll just take the tab. That's fine. No, we're good.
I'm fine. I'm not
it's
drunk.
Fine.
I'm
He's
fine.
had it
Right here.
It's fine. We'll just, I'll just tab out if you just, that's great. Thanks.
Seriously, Ruby.
No, we're good. It's fine. I think she said Luby, like the cafeteria. Yeah.
My bad. My ears.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's fine.
Cool. I'm gonna go stretch.
It's fine. We're good. We're just
All right, cool.
thinking about that chicken fried steak at Luby's. That's
Luann platter.
a little Luann platter.
Fits.
Good times. Good times. I would say if there was one thing that we've dealt with in all of the 307 episodes of Supernatural that we have filmed, if there was one thing that I would really love to not have to deal with again, that would be the bees. Yeah, I could do without the bug episode ever again. If those come back, I'm out.
You know what? I would literally the most uncomfortable I have ever been, or the least comfortable I've ever been, was the spitting thing, where there was the guy who was like siren. He had to like leak on me, and it was supposed to land in my mouth. It was nasty. And I have a weird thing about spit. Like, if you punch me in the face, I'll be like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? You spit on me, I'll kill you. I mean it. Like, I have a weird, it's a weird thing. You could kick me in the shins, you know, you could hit me in the crotch. I'd be like, whoa, what's going on?
It's true. When I talk to him, I don't face him. Just in the off chance that a little levity comes out.
I mean, it's
something like this. Hey Jared, listen.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking about maybe what we're doing.
That sounded like spit.
Nope, I swear it wasn't.
Okay.
Wait.
Dude, what's wrong? What's up?
Nothing. I'm good.
Okay. Just that wasn't spit, right? That was.
And this is coming from somebody who, do you remember the when you killed the Hellhound, and that it was like you were laying on your back and you sliced him open?
I killed the Hellhound?
Twice.
Yeah, you did. You know why? Because you're not a loose Chester.
Nor are you, good sir. Well played. So what
was the question? What are we talking about?
What makes you uncomfortable?
I don't know. Did we come close to answering any of all of your questions?
Yes.
I hate getting spit on.
Thank you. Wasn't the question, but there you go.
She's like, I asked which highway to take to San Antonio. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
I love your hair.
Thank you. So, my question is, yesterday I asked Misha, what's one thing that can make him so happy he gets sent into the empty? And he said, Sam and Regine saying like they miss him, happy birthday, Merry Christmas.
Will you say that first sentence one more time for me?
Huh?
You asked Misha what makes him happy and getting into the empty or something?
No,
What makes him happy? Oh, I see. Yeah, got it. Sorry, it's like a weird echo.
Okay. And he, that's what he had said. So I was wondering if, like, this season Sam and Regine would do anything that would, you know, make Misha happy, like, say they miss him or show some type of gratitude for all the things that he's done for them. I mean, Castiel.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you. No, we got it. No, understood. Thank you. I think one of the things that I enjoy most about Supernatural, unfortunately, is that, well, I don't want to say unfortunately. I feel like and I'm saying this out of the blue, if Castiel were to pass away again, I guess, and go to the empty, I feel like the way we would show Castiel's gratitude would be to keep doing what we're doing. You know, I don't think it's something, I think the way the Winchester brothers have lived has been, you know, if you lose somebody, you keep on fighting the fight. You keep on doing the best you can. There's no time to grieve. And I don't think it's a good I wouldn't recommend it for a human being that lives on the planet Earth outside of television. But I feel like there's not a lot of grieving for the Winchester brothers. It's sort of like you cry for 20 seconds and you get up and you move forward. And I feel like that's the way Sam and Dean Winchester show their gratitude, is by continuing to risk their lives and work hard to make the world safer. Love you back. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to honor them is to keep doing what you think would make them the proudest. What is it they say? Get busy living or get busy dying. So I don't think the brothers have a give up mentality or a since we lost Cass, what's the point mentality. I think they've had their ups and downs, but I think when it really comes down to it, the best way that they can make sure that the lives that they have lost along the way weren't lost in vain is to continue fighting what we were all fighting for.
Thank you.
Hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
I'm Sandra, and I've traveled all the way from Norway to be here this weekend.
Wait, which way did you get here?
I've traveled from Norway.
So not South way?
Not South way. I'm the person from Kirkenes. Earlier, if you remember.
God bless you.
Yeah, that was me.
Watch your mouth.
Alright, so my question for you guys is, if you had the chance to change anything about the show, like a little detail, an episode, a character, or even an entire season, what would it be?
It would be set in Norway.
That's really cool. Or even in Tromsø, maybe.
And where?
Tromsø.
God bless you.
Watch your mouth.
Remember Tromsø from one of the episodes?
God bless you.
Watch your mouth.
I like that you don't know where it is.
I always wished that, it's a small detail, but I always wished my brother wasn't so short. We do this thing sometimes where we'll get his bow legs and straighten them out, and he's my height. Honestly, there's a bit of if I'm here and he's here, we'll straighten his legs out, and he's tall again. We'll straighten his legs out. Oh, he's right there. I didn't realize. What were you gonna say?
Maybe more trips to the barber shop.
No.
It's like having a sheepdog in the car. There's not a shop vac out there that can get it all out.
True story. True story. Guten Tag.
No.
Or what is Norwegian? Thank you.
Talk.
God bless you.
Calm down.
God bless you.
Watch your mouth.
You can say talk.
Talk to you.
No, we're asking you to talk. How do you say thank you?
Thank you is talk.
Talk?
Or tusen takk.
Tusen takk.
Don't do that. Don't say that stuff. God bless
I
you.
feel like I need to go wash my mouth out with soap now.
Tusen talk.
Tusen takk.
Tusen takk.
And
Tusen takk.
thanks for coming all the way from Norwegian. Just pretty awesome. Pretty special.
I really thought you were going to be. You missed a Jared one there. She was like, I came all the way from Norway. I so thought you were going to go, Norway!
I had to think Norwegian. I said Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm better now.
Oh, talk. How are you?
I would want to know, who do you guys fanboy over?
I didn't understand that question.
You know, would you geek out and go total nerd mind blank?
Yeah,
like we do when we meet you?
I don't do that.
I watched the thing on YouTube and he answered that question.
That was just like a... Someone in the audience over here literally just went... Rob Roy?
That's what it sounded like to me. Get this person a drink.
Anne Boleyn. Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
She got her head cut off. Thank you for reminding me. I knew that.
Who would fanboy over? I don't.
Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him actually, like,
Pearl Jam.
the cool just evaporated from him so fast. I didn't know what happened. And then I realized...
I didn't either. I didn't know what happened either.
I realized he was talking to Eddie Vedder, and I had to remove him from the situation. Just knowing how embarrassed he was going to be after I told him what he was talking about.
Here's the actual story. I'm gonna say it. I'm not a smoker, but we had gone to a charity event and Eddie Vedder had played with himself and the guitar and some of the Dixie Chicks. I pick you. So after the event is over, I'm talking to, I think, Adam Sandler or something like. It's like maybe 60 of us.
We had no business being there.
No
we
business
were
being there.
really not famous enough to be at this event, but there we were.
And Eddie Vedder comes up to talk to whomever I'm talking to. I think it was like Sandler and another person who maybe was David Spade or something. And he comes up to like say hi to his buddies. I happen to be in the group, and he's smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, play cool, play cool, play cool, play cool. Hey, is that real? He's like, huh?
I'm standing next to him, and I'm like, what did he just say? Is it real?
And
and there it was. It was like a vapor cloud of just anything cool that resided in Jared's body just left. And I was just looking at this shell of a person. Hey, is that real? Yeah,
hey, is that real?
Yeah.
You mind if I do some of it or something? I mean, no biggie or whatever, but I'll do some too. Thanks, man. Thanks, Eddie.
No, man, you can keep it.
True story.
And this is what I did. I'm like, thanks, Eddie.
But he's over there.
Throw the cigarette down.
I have a cigarette.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't get him.
The best was.
I couldn't get him
Thanks,
out there
man.
fast
That's
enough.
good. No, you keep it.
No, man, you can keep it. And he was totally cool too. Like, he couldn't have been cooler about it. He was just like. And then just watch this poor person fumble with something that he's never used before, and then offered it back to him. as if he was like, thanks for letting me borrow your smoke, bro. And Eddie was like, he just kind of smiled and he was like, no, man, you keep it.
Yeah, so that's who I nerd over. Thank you very much.
I fortunately have not, I don't think, had a moment like that I can think of, because I avoid them like the plague. If I see somebody that I admire or that I, you know, think I might act anything close to what he did, I won't approach them. In fact, I have this thing, like, people ask, oh, you know, what are some actors or some musicians that you really admire? And I'll maybe list a couple, and they're like, well, I mean, why don't you could probably meet them. And I'm like, I don't want to. For two reasons. One, I might act like a fool. Two, they might act like a fool. You're stronger than I am. No, I also don't want that, my perception of them tarnished, you know, and you never know. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, you guys scored with us.
Thank you so much for your question.
You know, that's the last question. It is the very last question. This is it. One more. There's no more questions. There's no more questions. This is the last question. Last one, Robbie. Here's the last. You know what I think we ought to do? Here's the last question. Here's the last question. Here's the last question. Here's the last question.
Her name is Nicole, and I'm gonna sell her out right now in front of everybody. She says to me, I don't wanna sit down, I'm too short. Welcome, SPN family, to Nicole from the SPN.
What is your question?
One of my favorite episodes is French Mistake, so my question is, if somehow your character was to take over your body, and what would be the most noticeable difference, and who would be the first person to notice?
Again, since I have Nicole's phone, I'm just gonna say that question number 2 is literally, what do you consider your sexiest moves?
Can we decide which question you answer?
Can we opt for question number 2?
Yeah. Pretty sexy.
Nothing sexy like the weird.
He also did the Ackles elbows right before.
I've got one other sexy move.
Right,
that if that doesn't do the trick, this one really puts it over the top. You ready?
That's hot.
I'm telling you, never failed.
It works out 100% of the time to get people to leave. So what was the question again? Not about sexiest moves? I feel like I lost it.
What was the other question?
If your character was to take over,
Hey, let's not go down that road.
That's my sexiest move.
if you were taken over by your character, what would be the most noticeable difference, and who would notice first?
Ah.
if I was taken over by if we were taken over by our character, funny.
For me, probably